If nothing else, I can at least be proud of this. I did not pay a single goddamn penny to sit inside the theater to watch this hunk of garbage. And considering who is involved, who's directing it, I'm glad it didn't get my money. Flight Risk was directed by Mel Gibson. I'm sorry, let me correct myself. Ambassador Mel Gibson. Whatever, man. Yeah, so this is a movie that stars Mark Wahlberg. It's a thriller directed by Mel Gibson. And look, I'm going to take his politics completely out of the equation. Mel Gibson has given us some of the greatest directed movies of all time. Braveheart won Best Picture 30 years ago at the Oscars back in 1995. Hacksaw Ridge is one of the greatest war movies I think I've ever seen in my life. Apocalypto is so goddamn underrated. I love Apocalypto. So I saw a poster for this. It was supposed to come out back in October or something like that. And then I heard it was delayed to the month of January, which is known by many as the cinematic graveyard. And then I was like, oh no. This is not a good sign. So we follow a U.S. Marshal played by Michelle Dockery who boards a small plane piloted by Mark Wahlberg to transfer a government witness played by Topher Grace to New York. As they cross the Alaskan wilderness, tensions start to rise as not everyone on the flight is who they appear to be. And identities are exposed and conspiracies are uncovered. And it turns into what I think may be one of the most boring thrillers I've ever seen in my life. Like, just to be completely blatant and honest with you, Flight Risk f***ing sucks. And I know the budget's only $10 million, which is surprising considering Mel Gibson's involved in this. Isn't he supposed to be, like, rolling in money or something? I know there's some people out there who might be convinced that it was not Mel Gibson who directed this movie just based on his past history. I don't know, though, man. Let's get to the smallest glimmer of a positive. I can at least give Michelle Dockery credit where it's due, because as our hero, she is trying her damnedest to make this material as convincing as it possibly can be. The only problem is, this dialogue gives her nothing captivating to say. And the movie's an hour and a half long, so I know that some of you might be thinking, oh, you're just overthinking the logic. Like, turn your brain off, Zack. It's really nothing to be worried about. Yeah, except I'm stuck on a plane with these people who are so boring. And it's like, I've seen some of these characters before done better in other films. And I've seen this whole cool concept of being stuck in turbulence. That is a freaking terrifying idea. And I've seen it done in at least 10 different other movies within the past decade. The movie really brings nothing new to the plain thriller subgenre. It feels very one note and very forgettable. That is except for one thing. Mark Wahlberg. Listen. Oh, God. I can honestly respect the out of Marky Mark for putting his whole entire heart and his whole entire soul into any single performance. And he will at least make shitty movies like The Happening somewhat entertaining because of how funny he is to watch. These bees are dying all over the place. Come on, guys. Take an interest in science. Yeah, you knew that was coming. If I was referencing The Happening, yeah, I had to make that reference. But Mark Wahlberg has this super effervescent, energetic performance. And it's so blatantly over the top that I just couldn't help but snicker at him. Oh, and here's the worst part of all. They actually gave him a freaking half bald cap. And it's not even a complete bald cap. And I'll tell you one thing. I do theater. I just played King Triton in a community theater production of The Little Mermaid a couple years ago. My beard and my makeup, a million times more convincing than Mark Wahlberg's bald cap. It was embarrassing. Matter of fact, a lot of these effects are embarrassing. You can tell that this is a CGI hotel shot at the very beginning of the movie, and then curtains open and you see a fake-ass moose. And yeah, once you get on the plane, it's not much better. The CGI green screen mess that you're subjected to over the next hour and a half or so, it's just so distracting a lot of the time. And speaking of distracting, as an actor myself, as I've alluded to, I hate having to criticize other actors. Topher Grace. I mean, I don't even have the words, guys. This is an appalling, atrocious, horrible performance. Within the first 5 minutes, and you can sense that this is a very important character because he is the catalyst and he is the reason why you're on this plane, because he's the witness in this case that's supposedly going on. So he kind of has to be here. It's kind of a waste of space though. And listen, Topher Grace back in the early 2000s, hugely recognizable face from That 70s Show, hugely recognizable as Eddie Brock from Spider-Man 3. It's almost like this performance felt like he was doing a really shitty Jake Gyllenhaal impression. Like Mel Gibson really wanted to get Jake Gyllenhaal, but he couldn't have both Jake Gyllenhaal and Mark Wahlberg with a $10 million budget. I mean, hell, if he had more money, this guy might as well have been Jake Gyllenhaal. But yeah, this is honestly one of the worst performances I've seen in all my life with Topher Grace. Mark Wahlberg has one of the greatest, most, this is an all-timer, epically failed performance on so many levels. But I gotta admit, Mark Wahlberg can keep you entertained, even though the movie is dog shit. And perhaps one of the biggest insults of all, this script, again, like I said, it's doing Michelle Dockery no favors. But you never really get a full-on reason to invest as to why these people are on this plane. Why are they traveling to Anchorage? What's in New York? What's the case that's going on? There's some stuff uncovered about there being a mole in the U.S. Marshal system, and yeah, I guess so. But why exactly are you flying Topher Grace all the way across a whole freaking wilderness of a state? This movie really does not get into any details. The whole brunt of any script and the most effective scripts have to answer one question effectively more than anything else. Who does what with which to whom and why? And this movie does not do that pretty much at all. Not at all. So you're stuck on a plane with some pretty annoying performances, boring characters, and you don't really have a reason to get invested in this movie. That the thrilling aspect of it doesn't really feel all that intensified. There's other characters that you meet along the way that you only hear the voices of. You don't meet them until the very end, which I will also say one of the most hilariously botched endings I think of all time. I just couldn't help but laugh my ass off, man. Flight Risk is awful. Don't go out of your way to watch this at all. Please do not go give Mel Gibson your money. Just don't do it. There's better things you could be doing with your bank account than this. January, we've sorely missed you. We've been looking for the January stinker so far, and I think we found it. I'm going to give Flight Risk a big fat F. For a man with as esteemed of a pedigree and with the esteemed title that he wants to hold in America now, I expected a lot more, my friend. I expected way more. But yeah. Yeah, if you found this video as cathartic for you as it was for me to record, let me know down in the comments section below. Hit that subscribe button and tap on that thumbs up as well. Loads more discussion that we can get into about movies, all things in the cinematic world. Lots of big releases coming in 2025 that I cannot wait to dig deeper into with you guys. Y'all are the best. Thank you so very much again for your support. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.